This is Howdy. This is Deaf to False Music here. This is my first video review of. I'm going to be posting a video review site of music that I enjoy, of media that I enjoy, and basically try to give you good, honest music reviews. I kind of new to this whole video review thing. But yeah, this should be fun and interesting, and give you a little background story about myself. My name is Alex Parkansky. I'm 23 years old. I live in Eastern Kentucky, and I've been playing music for about 15 years. I play in a couple of rock bands where I'm from. I live in Moorhead, Kentucky. There's a band called Lakiji Sunrise and the Possum Trot Blues Band, and I'm not doing some shameless self-promotion thing or something like that, but I just wanted to give my credentials as a musician and as a college student before I start this blog thing. So anyway, this is the first in a series of long reviews. I've been kind of critiquing music since I was basically in high school. I have an Amazon page on. I have a page on Amazon called Parkansky, and I've been known to review quite a lot of music in general. So let's get started. First one I'm going to do is an album by the Black Crowes called hold on, Shake Your Moneymaker. And sorry the case is kind of cracked, but that's how it came. This is Shake Your Moneymaker on American Records, 1990. And what can I say about this band that hasn't already been said by millions of rock critics? Black Crowes, to me, are one of the greatest rock and roll bands of the past 20 years. They just have everything that I love about rock and roll wrapped up into one. It's the swagger of the Stones and the Faces and Humble Pie with Memphis soul and kind of jam band grassroots from the Grateful Dead and Led Zeppelin, and to top it off, you have an amazing frontman, Chris Robinson, who pours his heart and soul into everything. And then Rick Robinson has these wonderful cascading riffs that are both sounding like at one moment he can sound like Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones, and then the next moment he can sound like Nick Drake. One of the greatest rock and roll bands ever, to be perfectly honest. And this album, Shake Your Moneymaker, released in 1990, 20 years ago. This has to be, this is a great introduction to the world of the Black Crowes. This is, it has all the old classic songs, the ones that really made them huge. And I think what they're really, I mean, when you make a debut, you want to think big, because this is your introduction. You only make first impressions one time, and yeah, they made such a great impression. This came out in 1990, and to be perfectly honest, this style of rock and roll was not the most popular music at that time. I mean, grunge was just around the corner, but the music around that time was like Guns N' Roses, hair metal. Everybody was teasing their hair, and you had like bands like Warrant and Poison were like #1 at the time. And so for a band of nobodies to come from Georgia was literally unheard of. This kind of music, it had been bubbling for a while. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of made the whole grassroots rock and roll thing bubble a little bit, but there really wasn't a band that really captured the vibe of 1970s rock and roll, real raw rock and roll, like the Crowes did back in 1990. And this is just a perfect album. It's got a great flow. It has, all the classics are on here. Twice as Hard, Jealous Again, Sister Luck. I mean, we'll talk about the songs individually. Twice as Hard and Jealous Again is just perfect, Rolling Stones kind of romp. Fantastic interplay between everybody, and Chris just pouring his heart and soul into every word. There's also an undercurrent of kind of a soul sound, like a Memphis Stax sound, with songs like Sister Luck, which is kind of a slower, more gentle, kind of bitter love song. And then there's Seeing Things, which, if you really... This song is so weird, because the first time I heard it, I seriously thought it was Joe Cocker's With a Little Help from My Friends. When the chorus comes in, it sounds just like Joe Cocker's version of With a Little Help from My Friends. I'm seeing things for the first time. It's the same damn chord progression as with a little help from my friends. You could close your eyes and change the words up a little bit, but it's basically the same thing. So Black Crowes, in the beginning, had kind of the same problem that Led Zeppelin did early on in their career. They were accused of stealing from bands, prior to them. They were accused of stealing from the forefathers. Led Zeppelin, of course, being accused of stealing from blues songs and folk songs, and the Black Crowes were accused of stealing from the Faces and the Rolling Stones. But, I have to say this. Everybody has stolen something from somebody. I mean, if you really want to trace back, all music came from spirituals and from, old African American blues musicians. That's really where the heart and soul of rock and roll and the blues came from. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. We also have, one of their biggest hits, which unfortunately is not one of my favorite songs, She Talks to Angels, which is... All the girls love this song. Oh my God, it's my favorite song. It's okay. It's a song that got them a lot of pussy, obviously. But, I don't know. I personally always thought it was a load of horse shit and not a real true representative of what the band sounded like. They were a fantastic rock and roll jam band, and I think the She Talks to Angels was just a kind of a goofy love song. Anyway, this is the perfect introduction for a band like the Black Crowes. This is, high octane, full power rock and roll. Later on, they would go on to do some more like, funky and almost Grateful Dead sounding stuff with Amorica and Three Snakes and One Charm. But on the whole, this is a perfect introduction to someone who's never heard anything from the Black Crowes. So if you want to start somewhere, start with Shake Your Moneymaker. It's a fantastic album. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. As far as originality, it's a little off because, as I said, this has been kind of a rip-off of the Faces and the Rolling Stones, but it still has their own sound. It's not a complete rip-off. The flow of the album is great. Each song just perfectly goes into... You got two big rockers, and you got the ballad, and then you got, a few slower songs, and then, of course, you got Hard to Handle, and it ends perfectly with Stare It Cold. And that little blues thing at the end, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Anyway, this is my very first review, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.